I don't know why I'm bothering, but I guess it comes from the fact that I saw a lunatic respond to my video. He didn't even bother to put it in my little video response. I would have probably put it on there, even though I think his audio quality sucks. Suggestion to him: go buy a fucking headset. That's just a personal pet peeve, or at least a really decent mic. Using those webcam mics has way too much reverberation and distorts sound. Okay, video quality or audio quality aside, to the video. This guy, Cricketol, goes over and responds to one of my old ass videos from way back on my tirade of the Venus Project. But, anyways, I haven't really updated much on that front. But almost all my videos for a while have been Venus Project, so it's like, why the hell not continue on in this vein? The guy clearly doesn't know shit all about what the Venus Project is or what it represents in terms of the wider field of the study of economics. First and foremost, let's accept the fact that anything that's even a resource-based economy is, just by its own usage of the word, economy. Because an economy is a system that takes finite resources and attempts to exchange or distribute them, to people based on some parameter. Whether it's a fair parameter or not doesn't matter. It just uses some kind of parameter to say this person gets it, that person doesn't get the resources, or whatever. So it's an economy. All right, that general definition out of the way completely diffuses that bullshit line of Cricket, who doesn't have a background in even the most rudiments of economics, like microeconomics, like I do. Soviet Union. Why I'm bringing this up? Because it's extremely important. Because a planned economy is a planned economy is a fucking planned economy. Okay, get over it. Doesn't matter if it's even remotely similar to a market economy, just because it uses prices. And here's the important little piece of history, or facts, I should say, on history from Soviet economy. Go and do this in your wiki search, or even just search in Google. It should bring up the article at the Wikipedia, Economy of the Soviet Union. Now here's what's important. Read kind of the summary, first sentence. The second one continues to expand on the first one here, but it's the summary of the entire article for you here. The economy of the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics was based on a system of state ownership of the means of production, collective farming, industrial manufacturing, and central administrative planning. That last part is extremely important here because it goes on to explain that in the planning subsection of this article. Based on a system of state ownership, the Soviet economy was managed through Gosplan, that's the State Planning Board, Gosbank, the State Bank, Gosnab, the Commissions for Materials and Equipment and Supplies. It goes on to explain that the economy was directed through a series of 5-year plans with an attempt at 7-year planning. That's the next sentence, of course. For every enterprise, planning ministries, also known as fund holders, define the mix of economic inputs, that's labor and raw materials, the schedule for completion, all wholesale prices, and almost all retail prices. And this is important because I had to hop over to another article, and I don't consider this extremely viable as one because it comes from answers.com, but I checked to see that it actually had a bibliography and it has 3 references. And here we go. In the Soviet economy, the role of money was basically passive. Planning was primarily in physical quantities. This is important. Physical quantities, and this is correct because, in fact, many of the 5-year plans talked about tonnages, how much they made of something in general, how fast they made it, and so forth. It was a common features of the 5-year plans. The banking system basically consisted of a single bank, Gosbank, which combined the roles of a central bank and a commercial bank. It often had an arrangement often called a monobank. The Gosbank had no autonomy, but it had financial control under the Council of Ministers. As a central bank, it created a narrow money by authorizing companies to pay wages in accordance to accepted wage bills. If the economy expenditure exceeded the government revenue, the sufficient household savings were not available to cover the budget deficit and so on. It would just essentially, the state sector wages would still have to be paid, which would contribute to an imbalance in consumer goods and so on. Basically, they tried everything in their power to mimic money without trying to mimic money. Um, by virtue of the fact that, for example, although people did have personal checking accounts, people did have money, the reality was that a ruble could not be stored up in Gosbank, and then which then you as a person in a savings account position go off and invest in one of the many state-held industries as sort of like as an equivalent to market socialism. You couldn't just say to this ministry, hey, I want to invest in your ministry of shoemaking. It just doesn't happen that way, or didn't happen that way in the Soviet republics. You also couldn't take the money uh, and actually go off and actively invest it. This didn't happen until, Gorbachev with things like Glasnost and Perestroika. And then you started seeing people being able to take rubles and invest them into private ventures, into proprietorships and whatnot. Um, Prior to that, there was no way out. Money in the Soviet economy was just incidental. That's what's important here. By virtue of the fact that the means of production was state owned. That pretty much kills the whole fucking argument countering mine, which essentially is a bunch of him going off and getting butthurt and angry on this video. But this was just a little bit of searching. Two search terms. USSR money. In this case, I went and actually said Soviet banking. And Soviet economy. Completely destroys the guy's fucking argument. Right there. So, nothing personal to you, Cricket. Get a fucking grip. Quit being a psychopath. And most importantly, go do your own goddamn research. Quit fucking worshipping this cocksucking bullshit called the Venus Project, okay? It's exactly that. It's fucking bullshit. Everybody knows it. So, don't fantasize anymore about it, okay? Just deal with the facts. Alright. And there you go.